So what's happening right now is, are you recording on your end?
Yeah, here, let me switch to you.
Sign it in.
Go ahead.
All right. So right now, Michael's making Mediaverse Studios a theme song. He's using AI because he does not care about creators.
I'm not creative and I hate artists.
Man.
Will it actually like give you the music too?
Yeah.
Wow. Poor Walker's back there just listening to us.
He's having a
bullshit.
great time.
He's editing
Full
photos.
audio. That's the claps.
Okay, so wait, then what do you do with it to get music?
I'll show you. It's pretty sweet. This
The
gonna
bridge? There's a whole bridge section too.
Yeah, this is gonna be great.
This
Oh my
is so
goodness.
cool. Suno. Oh my gosh. This is why the industry is failing. Right.
This is awesome.
This is paying way for great ideas.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
all. You have a great idea?
Did you read any of the lyrics? I didn't get a chance to see them. We're gonna hear them.
I saw some of
Oh my
those.
goodness.
Two seconds here, maybe. Just gotta generate.
A powerful Mumba song. Give it a freaking theme.
Yeah. What's our style of music here? What's like the vibe? When you think Mediaverse Studios, what is the vibe?
I would like to hear like a Gaelic folk song.
Yeah. Go ahead and spell Gaelic for me.
Gaelic.
Gaelic folk.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you like? What do you like, Bauston? What's like a genre?
Let's put down. What's it? Not hard rock. What's
Contemporary rock.
contemporary?
Yeah, go ahead and spell
Indie pop.
Pop rock.
Indie pop rock.
Yeah.
Pop rocks. I love pop rocks.
You like pop rocks?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I've only had them.
Give me a style. Give me a style of an artist that we want to emulate here.
Batman.
Osmosis Jones.
Osmosis Jones.
Yeah, go ahead and spell that for me.
O.
He's not a-
M. O.
I'm not a wait. Hold on. Really? Hold on.
No, I'm kidding. No.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh no.
That
What
movie was
about-
actually incredible. That show was awesome.
What about like Osmosis Jones? That's like the animated one.
Ozzy and Drix?
Wait, what?
Yeah, Ozzy and Drix, that cartoon show.
He's a pill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drix is the cold pill.
And he's Osmosis Jones. He's an osmosis man. He's made of water.
Oh,
Well, he's a white blood cell.
Yeah.
all right.
It's a virus. And Bill Murray.
Walker, give me an artist. Anybody that comes to mind right now.
Oh, I was just listening to Mother by Danzig.
Danzig. Yeah.
Danzig?
Danzig.
Danzig. Okay, guys, this is gonna generate here.
This will be.
This is gonna be interesting. If they can pull this off.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
Oh my god.
This is gonna be so good. It's gonna be the best thing ever, brother. You guys ready for this?
Yeah, let's
One
go.
more
Alright.
smash it right here.
And it's gonna happen right now.
I'm vibing.
Yeah.
They're from the heart of the Midwest, where stories take flight. Jake and Michael shining bright, bringing dreams to the light. Iowa filmers, passion on the rise. Welcome to the Mediaverse, where talent never hides. It's the Mediaverse Studio, stories untold.
This is dope.
What the hell?
That's a great drop.
This is not bad.
Throw them hands up.
This is an opening to a coming of age story right here.
Films and big ideas. We're setting the stage, behind the lens, behind the script, turning every page from the cornfields to the screen.
Oh, the cornfields.
Cornfields to the screen.
Dude, let's go. Can we get that on a t-shirt?
For the dreamers, every frame defined. It's the Mediaverse Studio, stories untold, creators and dreamers, their visions unfold. Jake and Michael, the voices
This is
you'll
fire,
hear.
bro.
You better be switching to yourself right now. Okay, I want one more version. Can we do another take?
It's the Mediaverse
Yeah, real
Studio,
quick, hold on.
stories
This is
untold.
the other one it gave us.
Let's have
A little more bumping, I think, maybe.
Let's have it.
Hold on, what's happening? I heard a little beat for a minute.
Too.
This is absolutely interesting.
It's experimental.
Come on.
It's just one drop. And then
It's just
2
like,
minutes and 22 seconds.
that's all you got. All right, let me try to relaunch it. Come on. Don't fail me. Come on, please. Please work.
God, AI.
Please. AI, why?
Can't even make us
Why are you doing this to me?
It's a one-hit wonder. You're already out.
Okay, hold on. What do you want different, Jake?
Take off the Gaelic folk song,
Okay.
add in some, operatic,
Okay.
and then put in some cyberpunk.
Oh.
Okay, well, let's get rid of indie rock pop.
Sure.
And we'll go cyberpunk.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
And I'm gonna do in the style of Linkin Park.
There you go. Oh, shit. This might go well. Can't have Linkin Park.
Well,
Take off Linkin Park. Just put in
Oh, really? Does it not want that?
put in emo.
Oh, great. I like emo. I wish I would have thought of that. Now, it might be bugged, which means it's not going to generate another song. But we'll see. Maybe. Oh, something's happening.
Something.
Something is coming. I don't know what, but something is. I'm excited. This is awesome. I'm glad this is our
I'm
time.
glad we're taking the time to do this. Yeah.
Austin, thanks for being here.
This is a great bonding experience.
You are
He's a
on the ground floor of what will be the best theme song to have ever played in the audio waves starting now.
Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped. Oh.
From the heart of the Midwest, where stories take flight. Jake and Michael shining bright, bringing dreams to the light. Iowa filmmakers, passion on the rise. Welcome to the Mediaverse.
Oh my god. Yo, this sounds like the kind of music your like uncle would be like, yo, guys, we're back in our band. This is our first time back after 20 years. Please be nice to us.
Don't touch my board.
I'm sorry. See, I'm always doing that. Always do one thing wrong.
It's kind of Nightwishy.
Nightwishy? What's that?
It's a band, Nightwish.
No.
It's a journey you'll find. A podcast for the dreamers, every frame defined. If you feel the big ideas, we're setting the stage. Behind the lens, behind the script, turning every page. From the cornfields to the screen, it's a journey you'll find. A podcast.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. These are both great.
Yeah.
Both great options.
Yeah. We need to vote on it in the next team meeting.
Yeah, let's do that. Now I'm a staple in this podcast. I have the theme song.
You got
It's in
you're
there.
part of it.
I am podcast. Okay, great. How are we
I
feeling?
hear this, Walker. This is good.
How are we feeling? We ready to start this?
I think we should.
Go ahead and turn down that slider. No, Boston, go ahead.
Go ahead. Touch the board.
No, do it.
give you-
Go ahead, Boston.
Touch all the sliders.
No, don't do that. Wow, welcome to the podcast. Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead, and go, and action, and go, and action, and go. Go ahead, any moment. I'm still hearing the song. Boston, you fucked up. Turn it down more. Lower. Lower.
Action.
There we go. Actually, go ahead and turn that back up. I got to mute it on this side, so in case we gotta play the trailer later. I'm embarrassing you. God, I'm so sorry, buddy.
It's what I do.
Okay.
I come here for the laughs and I come here for the thrills. But if you want to do the spills, I'm here for it all.
Dude, that was
With wills.
Are you AI?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, to answer that question would be inhumane, as it were. If we continue in this theory, we will only know.
We got soundboards. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah. That's the podcast. We're just going right now. Do your intro though that I know you wrote down.
I don't write these down, Michael. These all come from.
Do the intro that I know you wrote it down every time you write it.
All right. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Mediaverse Studios podcast. Tonight we have the one and only Bauston Van Sickle in the chair with us. We're going to be talking about his upcoming film, Bits and Pieces. He is a filmmaker and writer and director and producer and all these things from Newton, Iowa. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
What's up, Boston? How you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing good, Michael. How you doing over there in your little booth?
Dude, I'm doing so good, brother. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the show.
All right, yeah.
We did it, guys.
Yeah, after an hour and a half, here we go.
All right, Boston, let's talk about you for a second.
Yeah, Boston.
Damn, I don't like doing that.
All right. So tell us a little bit about kind of where you came from, what you're, who are you?
I come from Newton. I went to DMAC Ankeny for school in film and animation for a few years back in 2017 all the way to 2023. Got interested in filmmaking through watching old cartoons and shows as a kid, and mostly just kind of being raised on a farm with my family. It was more of a thing of just trying to find imagination through exploration.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and for me, it was like I didn't really get a lot of socialization in town, so finding outlets through media was always a good reach for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up in the countryside, kind of a feral kid, watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
What were some of your like kind of big inspirations in terms of films or directors or books, pieces of art that you consumed that were like, okay, this is the track I want to go, the stories I want to tell.
So mostly got started through just whatever I could find because we didn't really have cable for myself. So, and we had a crap ton of VHS tapes. So I was always exploring anything that was in there, like old animations at Disney. Charlie Brown was one I came across, and it was for someone like me who always like found it like a little bit tougher to like connect with people and socialize. I was finding relatability through characters like Charlie Brown and all the comic strips I used to read. So I found like an outlet of just finding a way to communicate through art and through drawing. And it was more when I was watching all this stuff, I started to look through like, all the behind the scenes. I was more interested in like how it's made.
Yep.
So I just wanted to find a way to pursue like that, and so that was just what got me started.
Did you know that college was always an option for you, or were you planning on not doing film school, or what made you want to pursue that and not just do sort of just go out and start creating it? What made you want to go through the college route?
It was mostly just because I tried doing things and was always just learning about what I didn't know. I tried making other projects when I was younger in high school and through middle school. Just trying to find what cameras to use, like how, like trying to learn about which editing software is the best and like how to pay for it. So just like any kind of like money I could ever scrap up, I would buy some crappy like camera and try to do it. Like mostly with my siblings, we would just like film little at-home videos together. Mostly,
Wow.
yeah, and just mostly creating like fun stories together is what drove me to want to do something with film because I'm not much of a reader.
Sure.
But for me, when I watch like a movie that's like for someone who was like raised up through Y2K, it feels like the next outreach from evolution from books to visual media. It's another way to both learn through observation. So that was just kind of how I picked up on it a little more.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm very illiterate, if you can tell.
What are some, so like you mentioned like Charlie Brown and some cartoons and animations and stuff, and then like later on as you kind of developed your, I don't know, your kind of like taste for film and stuff, kind of what else pushed you into this role as a filmmaker? What other like movies or pieces of art?
Well, I was a big Star Wars fan. I was mostly any movies my dad and I would watch together. So he's a big fan of Tombstone, so he likes old westerns. And oh yeah, that was one. He always likes to pull that up like every once in a while. I come in and watch Tombstone. I'm like, yeah. That's the vibe.
I'm your
Only had Jack Daniels and a cigarette. I'd be like, that's a full man right there. So it was like movies of the 80s and 90s. Like I'm a big fan of Back to the Future and Spielberg's Jaws. And of course Scorsese and the crime drama. So like I was always more interested in films I wasn't allowed to watch.
Yeah.
As per se. It was more the storytelling. I got interested in like because I'm a big Batman fan, so I got a big thing for detective stories and noir. Always like the idea of like who did what and how this thing connects. And then I started to pursue more like visual medias that had that kind of taste, like in Breaking Bad, visually telling a story through these characters. I like, as someone who just, I like to just like, sit around and watch like, and socialize. It's fun to kind of look at film in that way, where it's like you're someone who's watching through this box, You're basically getting a window into someone else's life or a window into this like alternate universe of a story. It's kind of fun to just sit there and just watch and just see how these people like act, and it's more interesting of why. So yeah.
So you went through, so you grew up in Newton, went through high school, got to DMAC and everything, and then how did you start calling yourself a filmmaker? I'm assuming you graduated the film school, right? And then, so what are some of the projects that you started, and then how did you start developing your visual language?
Well, I wanted to go to school mostly just for animation, but I was on a waiting list at the time, and I was more just interested in just trying to bring these drawings to life because that was kind of my bigger thing was all these like fun little cartoons, and that's just something I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
And I realized that when I was doing comic strips, it was like storyboarding, so it all like lent hand in hand. And then when I was actually glad I got put in video first before animation because most of the principles of video overlapped into animation, which helped a lot by the time I got there.
Sure.
But I didn't really realize at the time how much I was going to enjoy film more, and I enjoyed meeting some of the other students in the community at the time. And being also a younger filmmaker, I didn't know anything, so I was more interested in just meeting new people and feeling, just kind of feeling it out. Because there were like some things I wanted to make. I wanted to make a movie, but it was more like I know I need a team, and it was more just trying things and failing all at once. Like so we made but I actually found out I liked editing a whole lot more when I was doing that first semester. Yeah, I was editing with Tyler Brenniger, who was my my editing mentor. He was the teacher there and worked at PBS as a full-time editor. He made it really easy to get hands-on. And that's what I liked about DMAC was it was really hands-on. I'm someone who it's easier for me to learn if I have someone there who's kind of being guided. I mean, I could go on YouTube and do the same thing, but I kind of like someone who's there. Like if I have a question immediately, someone's there to at least get me started. And I didn't know any of the tools, so that was my biggest thing. And it went easier when I had good guidance like that.
Yeah.
And he got me through to an internship in that first year at PBS, and that went well. I learned firsthand what it was like to be on set.
Yeah. Doing editing, or what were you doing for the internship?
I was just mostly just a PA.
Okay.
Yeah, and helped out, just setting up things for a couple little small news segments they did there.
Was it like broadcast stuff, or was it like just recordings, like pre-recordings and stuff?
Yeah, pre-recordings for broadcast.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, it was, and it just opened my eyes. Because I did a lot of like theater and backstage work when I was in high school and community theater. So I got more interested in the behind the scenes work and just seeing how all that stuff is made. And I wanted to actually like create something. It just sparked me in this thing. I want to do a movie. I want to do this or that. And it was more just trying to figure out, okay, how do you assemble all these bits and pieces?
Right.
Wow. You're gonna hear a lot of that.
We'll get back to bits and pieces.
Yeah. It was just all about also learning and maturing as well. Because when I first started out, I was pretty like I could come across like arrogant as most people do when they're first coming up. It's just you want to like always continue to be better. So through those experiences of like trying to do things and then failing all at once, you learn and you continue to grow as well. So that was something I also never took for granted the older I got. And that also brought us into the pandemic, which changed my outlook on, all right, what am I going to do? Because, we have, I'm trying to pursue wanting to either get a job or try to figure out how all this works. And it just kind of, when that pandemic started, just felt like everything was like stopped.
Yeah.
For the longest time. Yeah. And it took a minute to mentally try to break out of that, even after we got through those first few years.
Right.
And also that kind of brought a new way for me to look at what I want to do with film. At first, I thought, well, I think I want to be a director. I think I want to be an editor. I think I want to either act or I want to do this or that. Yeah. And then you start to narrow that down when you do a little bit of dabble mix into all these different jobs and branches in the industry, which I'm kind of thankful I got to do a little bit of everything in the course of so far that I've done.
Was there a single moment during your college course? Is that what they would say?
I feel like so.
No, okay, whatever. I don't know. Was there a defining moment for you where you sort of figured out where you want to pursue the most? Because you went for animation, but you sort of got into filmmaking. What was the defining moment for you?
I would say it was probably after we finished Bits and Pieces.
So you were still in school when you were doing Bits and Pieces.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
finishing up animation. We finished up the last semester as we finished the first draft of the script, and we were trying to plan to film that summer. And then we had the pandemic. We figured, well, we'll just spend a year on pre-production. I'll finish school, and we'll get into it. And that helped a lot, but it also it made me try to figure out, okay, well, what do I actually want to do with all this? And I knew I still wanted to pursue animation, but then I kind of got more exposure to different like content that was coming out, and streaming became a bigger thing, and people aren't. It doesn't really feel like people go to the theaters much anymore. So there's a different idea of what people expect through art and content that I noticed. So it kind of like it didn't really overwhelm me in a way. It just kind of was like it just changed my outlook. I'm like, well, this isn't like when I was younger and this was like a big spectacle thing anymore. It feels like such an oversaturated market. The only way to really stand out in it or really kind of feel like to enjoy it is just to do your own thing. Because if you kind of notice that everything kind of feels symmetrical in a way. It's like because we're over here, we're doing a podcast, and there are people who can do podcasts. It's like with the advance of technology, it feels like it's more accessible to do the things that you would almost feel like as a kid are just big dreams. So the idea of wanting to be more in the industry is still something I would like to do.
Sure.
But it doesn't feel like I'm overwhelmed by this, like, oh, I want to be working at Pixar, or I want to be working at the bigger studios doing this or that. I find more enjoyment in the journey so far and meeting more people and learning more about the community of both film and as well as animation too. It's just like 'cause it's all one big group of people. It's just art, and I enjoy any kind of person who can take just any of those mediums, whether it's theater, whether it's stage, whether it's photography, graphic design, and they can just try to find some way to create a story, create a feeling, and just try to express themselves. That's more what I've been kind of wanting to find more the older I get. And it kind of just it took off this like ego thing from me. I'm like, I don't want to try, and it's like I want to quote the Bear too because there was a good episode in season 2. They're like, I thought I want to try to be the best, and I realized I'm not the best, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of just takes that weight off of like feel like I have to be somewhere by a certain age.
Yeah.
And that really helped a lot.
I feel like art should never be competitive.
No.
Or it should never be this like race to the top, which I feel like it is for a lot of people, especially people see like they come out of film school. I want to be the next Scorsese. I want to be the next Spielberg. It's like you're doing an art form. You're expressing yourself in a certain way. You're not trying to, I don't know, elevate yourself. You're just trying to put something out there that's creative and a story you want to tell.
Yeah, it's all about perspective. It's like, who do you want to be at the end of the day, kind of thing. There's a great quote from Dave Chappelle I enjoyed at his documentary about a couple years ago. He said he was talking to a young comedian who she was nervous to go on stage, thinking like, I don't know if they're gonna like me, or like how do I do if they're just not like vibing with my jokes. And he just looked at her and he said, who gives a fuck? You can go out there, and if the people who don't fuck with you, they'll fuck with you to the end of time, and the ones who don't, they'll weed themselves out. And that was something I started to notice the older I got. Is like the people who do stick around for the whole time, they make it known, and you find a good community of people with that. And that's more what I think I kind of like look for now in the film group and all sorts of media.
It was really cool when we kind of found you. I don't know. You came out here to work on Frank Boyd's Gordon series, and I don't know. Me and Michael were both just like, I gotta dig with this dude. He's got a good energy. He works his ass off, and he's just like, I don't know, cool to be around. We can just kind of, I think you can just kind of sense when someone has that in them. in terms of like.
Yeah, I mean, I've always say like they got the dog in them, man, and I just think like that's been the prime example of what I've seen from you, and I'm curious like where do you get that hustle from to like because a lot of people I think get into film and they realize how hard it is and they're like I don't want to make films, and I think when people see it on social media they're like, oh dude, making films looks so fun, but then when you're on set and you're working 12-hour days and it's very hard, I feel like a lot of people sort of don't want to do it after their first day. Where did you get that hustle from?
More came of it recently, and it did come from like failing on other projects, But it also was like me being like, this is all I really want to do, and you would still want to find those people who will support you through that
Yeah, man.
kind of thing, because it is hard to want to be like, how long do I want to keep extending? So that's what actually drew me when I came up here, because I heard of you guys for the longest time, as I was always working, trying to still come through school, and I was always curious to come meet more people around the film scene. Because I just didn't know, like, I didn't know how to start, and I didn't really know like how to meet people.
Yeah.
Because I'm just really bad at that kind of thing.
It's tough.
It is tough to network.
It is hard.
Tough,
Yeah.
man.
It's as tough as like trying to make a Facebook post. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can make it, but I'm like, hold on, I gotta do laundry or something.
Yeah, to do it in person, it's a whole different thing even.
Yeah, and that's when I came up here to do Gordon. Like that's what I loved about it was, you guys took it. You guys took it at a level where it was like I could sense the respect for the craft, and I could sense the self-respect for yourselves, and I fuck with that. It makes me want to work harder when people who also had a good structure to their crew, and that's what I loved about working with Michael and you. And when you were ADing on Michael's film, Your Father, I got to see more of that leadership, and that's what I love about being on a crew. Because when I first started out, we were all younger when you first started out, so like things never like run as smooth as they should be. But that also brings in a way for you to come up with ideas on the fly. So, and there was who was it? What's his name? My friend Joe, who I worked with in Des Moines. He was a video content creator at a marketing agency, and he had this mentality. He once told me while we were driving on to a job. He told me. The best kind of like advice he can give himself is that he could be anywhere else doing something else, but he gets to do this every day. So he kind of feels blessed and thankful to be doing that, even though if it's not like the biggest like project or the most like beautiful like spectacular thing. It's like even if it's a small thing, it's like take them all as like one big blessing. And that also was something I really needed to hear. And it's like every single like I just kind of always like looked out for those. Looked out for those like moments of connecting with people and learning those lessons is what I never really feel like I took for granted after a while. And I feel like I started paying attention to it more and realizing that there's more to it than just trying to make the thing or trying to like get your name out or trying to win an award.
Once you get past the ego, it's like the real shit comes out.
Yeah.
And you're able to see it and you're able to like appreciate it for what it is. It's long days, it's grueling, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, but like you can't wait to come back and do it again tomorrow because it's just what you love doing.
Yeah, and it's just the people you hang around too.
Yeah, man.
Like, and that's the thing I also like. When I worked at like some of the jobs I had in college, like working at Fairway, like it's just the community people. It's like the work's not always like fun and glorious, but it's like that's just what it is. It's work is work is work, but it's the people there that bring you back every day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, working with like community people. That's really what it's for. And like for me, it's like I just want to entertain.
Yeah.
And like bring people some kind of like something other than the despairing news to watch,
Absolutely.
That's what I want to get away from. And that's actually something I did do after the pandemic. I stopped listening to a lot of that. I just didn't really want any like headspace for it because there was so much negativity already.
Especially lately, I'm not watching anything because I'm just like, this is just so bad.
It's just sad.
Yeah,
it's just always
Like-
sad.
Like what was a moment though you had like coming out that like sparked in it for you in the same way?
Say that again, sorry.
The kind of defining moment for like you guys too, like that kind of
To start this thing, it was just opportunity that we answered. It was like realizing that this place may come available and that we all had a need for a space and for a studio. And we were like, okay, let's just put these two things together and see what we can do. And a lot of it was just like, let's see what happens if we do X, Y, or Z, and no one no one was like, this is a terrible idea. No one was like, you should never do this. It was, support along
that,
the
and
way.
I think like if someone was like that, we just don't care. Like we're
Yeah.
always going to continue to do the thing we want to do because it makes us happy. And I think a lot of it was also just like luck and timing. I mean, me and Britt were doing this for a very long time, and then we stumbled upon Jake, and I always used to say, man, it'd be a dream if I just had a studio, And Jake was like, I kind of have an option, maybe potentially, and it just sort of went from there. But if it wasn't for everybody that believed in us and Jake believing in us, it's just a lot of luck, and it takes a lot of consistency is the biggest thing that I tell anybody is like you have to stick with it because you don't know if tomorrow is the day you win everything, man. You never know. So, but I am curious, Boston, going into the planning of making bits and pieces, you and your partner Wayne, right? Was it always the two of you going into wanting to make this feature? And if so, I'm curious about making the feature. You're ready to go, but also you made this with a pretty skeleton crew, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And like, how was that overwhelming? Did that make you almost feel like I just can't do it without a bunch of people? What made you want to do it with essentially you and Wayne?
Yeah. That was more the drive of it, was always being told that I couldn't do it with the small crew I had, and being with that ambition of like I either do it or I fail at it, so I'll just take the gamble and just say let's just do it, because the worst that can happen is it doesn't work out and it looks like crap. So I had to get just through that fear of like just that first start. And Wayne, who I met through the first semester, we worked on a couple projects until I went into animation. Then we kind of lost connection for a little bit, and then I brought him back onto a job at Best Buddies. We worked on a small video for them, and we just started talking again. We had lunch, and we were talking about stuff we wanted to do past school, and we still always like mentioned like, because he always just wanted to be in this thing just to make movies. And I was kind of this thing of the same boat of like, I just want to tell stories. So we had an old like proof of concept that we did. That's what we called it afterwards. It was our 48 back when we did our first semester in the summer. So we just said, let's just take that idea and just write a new story based off that. And we just started hanging out again. We reconnected, and we developed our friendship into what it is. And it was just he always pushed me to always get past that fear that it's not going to work out. So I needed that other person that good partner on your side who's going to always uplift you, and he was good at that. Just having someone there who always like trusted in the vision as well as yourself helps a lot. At least one person.
Were you ever worried about maybe the lack of crew that you would potentially have taking on such a huge endeavor, and like how did you sort of just push through doing that, like knowing that you're not going to maybe have the sound person, you might not have your ACs or whatever is the essential on a set.
Yeah.
You were able to still make this feature film with very minimal crew. And were you ever worried about that going into that?
Every goddamn day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because like when I was in school, it was like you only had the people available to you, and sometimes you get on a production or any kind of like set, and sometimes people call in, all those kind of things. So I was always having that kind of worry that everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So, but I was prepared. I'm like, the worst, I just said like, there's probably the possibility we're going to end up with, depending on the budget too, we just decided that we expected it was probably just going to be me and Wayne, and we just needed someone else to do sound. Because we wanted to hire more crew, but when it came down to the budget, it's
tough.
It is tough. It was also tough just to like communicate with, like, we know we have no money.
Yeah.
How do you get people to trust you and respect you that it's all going to work out?
Well, that, and you're making a feature film, and it's not, you might not just not have the budget. It's the time commitment that you're gonna have to rely on these people. It's so many things that it takes to even make a feature film, let alone again with a minimal crew. So
Yeah.
I mean that's awesome that you were able to push through that and get it started.
The thing that helped a lot was I had so much faith in the edit that I was like, because when I was coming off animation, I had a little bit more knowledge of post-production.
Yeah.
That I was thinking to myself, if we organize this correctly, because that was my big thing, is I wanted to be just as organized as I could have as much pre-planning. I feel like if it's pre-planned right, that's how you can tell people and try to get their trust and their respect that it's going to work out. And it makes you feel like every day, even if like you don't know what's going to happen, you have somewhat of a guide there that's just going to keep you on straight.
You were showing us the guide earlier, and it's
Yeah,
really impressive, man.
is this
You
Bible? I don't think if I
show
had
it.
this. I
Show
don't
it.
think
It's
I would.
amazing.
Yeah, you want to hold that really quick.
Yeah.
But I was also used to working on small crews as well. Like when I was in school, we had a little bit of a group together. Wayne and I did from people we met through different classes. So we were already used to working with about like a small crew of like 4 people at least. So
Yeah.
that also made it just easier. Like, well, this is what we're working with. That's what we expect. So yeah, like we had all these I drew up about a few months before production. I had my blocking sheets, and then we had idea of like where the cameras were. I had to write the movie based off location.
Sure.
Because I was like just trying to figure out from other like filmmakers and their experience, even like older movies, like what can we do? Like how do you write a movie is ooh, look at that. Oh my god, I just gonged myself. Anywho.
It's interesting that because most of the time you just write the script, you just write the story you want to make, and then you figure out locations, and then you make your compromises, and then every now and then you have to lose some of the vision, but like you knew the locations ahead of time,
Yeah.
and then you wrote the script from that.
That's because like all I do most of the time is I'm driving around in my car and I'm just like looking outside, listening to music. So I'll just be like, "That's a cool location. I would like to film that." I just like I'm like, "What's going on out there in that little cornfield?"
You put characters out in there, and you have
Yeah,
them
you
piece,
start
and
to
you just write
imagine a
that.
story. Yeah, and it gets like funny. Like, well, how hard would it be just to like walk up to somebody like, "Hey, so I know you don't know me. I mean, you might know me. If you do, that's sad. Sorry, but you mind if I film with you? And if my friends come with you and film?" And most of the time, I just felt comfortable talking to Iowa people. I know if I was living somewhere else, I feel like I wouldn't have that kind of comfortability walking into some place and be like, "Hey, do you mind if our friends just come in and we film this little project of ours?" I feel like most people, even in the town I grew up in, I feel like there was some leniency there, which is some of the community, because like growing up there, I knew a lot of people, so there was some comfort in being like, if we're in my hometown, I feel like most people there, they're pretty easy to talk to. It's a good community of people, always trying to help one another. So
Well, and I mean, like, to speak to the Iowa people, I was just literally in a meeting earlier with a guy that we're working with, Max. He's from the UK. He's trying to get a road, not blocked off, but permission to go on the road, and it's in a small town. And he was like, I don't know who I'm going to contact. I'm going to contact the mayor. So he ended up contacting the mayor to shoot on the street, and the mayor was so chill about it. He was like, yeah, do you guys need cops or anything to, like, and then, like, that's just Iowa for you, man. I was
So
great.
accommodating.
And the first thing he said was like, dude, I'm really loving Iowa, dude. And I was like, yeah, keep coming to Iowa, man. Make your movies here, please.
and that's the thing is like I just feel like there's so much opportunity that's not being seen in that light of like it's just about the people.
Yeah.
Some people are just more open just because they've never seen about it before.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun because you get people who will see you be doing it and they're like, "Oh, what's going on over there?"
Yeah.
Although we did have one instance we were running because you do sometimes forget where you're at. We were doing a scene with Katie Huck. We were running through the street, and she was like being disheveled, and she was screaming. And we did about 3 takes, and at one point, some lady was coming out the window like, "Are you okay?" We're like, "No, yeah, we're fine." The boom.
Wait. Yeah, that's all you got to show people is the boom,
And they still look at
kind
me
of get
like,
it. Even with the camera, it's sometimes not enough. They got to see the boom, dude. And they're like, movie.
That's the real thing. I
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about, for me, I just feel like I always just felt like when I was watching other movies too, like even movies from like the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, I felt like with the way technology is, it sparks his imagination. My brain, it's like, with what's available to you, what can you actually do from back then that feels relevant now and could make it easier? Just watching all these other like creators and creatives on YouTube about what they're making with limited budget and just like old household items, it's the same kind of concept.
Yeah.
And it opens up your mind of like, well, if they can do this, then I feel like I can too.
Yeah. It doesn't take. Excuse me. It doesn't take big cameras, big resources, props, locations, all big crew, cast, all that stuff. It's just the story. If you have a compelling story, you can make anything work. It's just how much effort do you put into, because if you're not going to have all the resources, you got to put in more effort. Right?
And just find your limitations and try to find unique ways to still express those limitations to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And even I learned that a lot in animation was like sometimes simpler is better, and finding the way to do it easier is just more worth your time.
That's what I like a lot about the 48-hour films is that it's an exercise in limitation.
Yeah.
You only have 48 hours to make this thing. You only have these many resources at your disposal. You only have these locations. You only have so much time that this film can be. So then you work within those, and I feel like sometimes limitation can actually spark better creativity.
Yeah. Just be able to come up with an idea based out of nothingness.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just it feels more unique to yourself. You're like, oh, I'm just trying to do this thing, but sometimes it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just when it came to doing this, like this script in particular, it was like it's a very bonkers idea on paper, but it was seeing the evolution of it from like idea to like storyboard to going on set to seeing the actors in costume. It was seeing the actual progression, even in your most limited of funds. Like just seeing it have life is enough to make you like, oh, what else can we do?
Well, and I was curious, like, so this is your first time doing a feature film. You've planned it for a long time, and now you're on day one of I don't know how many days did you have production?
We filmed for 27 days out of
Wow.
When we started rehearsals.
It's a long time.
27 days is a long time.
Yeah.
We also had some days we had planned as reserve in case we ran into like weather.
Yeah.
So we were planning to at least go from like April is when we started rehearsals all the way till August when we stopped filming.
Well, so talk to me about that first day. You're on set, and now it is time to shoot the movie that you've been working on for a long time. Talk to me, like, what was that like? What did that feel like? What was the feels, Do you remember? I know it was a long time ago, and it's hard to remember 27 days of production, but do you remember that first day?
I remember a lot of things broke. When we first started out, like I bought like a easy rig to help me on camera. And first of all, go back to your other question. I just remembered like having a smaller crew. When I kind of figured for doing a project as big as this, it felt a little bit more concise to have a smaller crew. Just feel like everyone can be on the same page, and it's easier for us to communicate with our actors and who we have available to come in to do some of our other work.
Yep.
So, so when we had problems like that break, then the movie style kind of changes with it. You're like, well, I gotta still keep going with.
Yeah, you gotta adapt.
So I just have to go on handhelds, still sticks, whatever we have. And it gave good. The way we scheduled it too also helped a lot. Figure out if we start with some of these easier scenes to get us like kind of like in the mood. How's it gonna feel when we get to the next few weeks?
But you're able to build momentum by knocking off some of the easier stuff first.
Trying to figure out let the actors kind of feel out these characters a bit, so that they can go on these later scenes, kind of feeling like, oh, I'm just slipping back into this old suit, and it feels comfortable. I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yep.
And that was a bigger thing too, was learning through school, working with actors, how best it is to approach an actor, what it is that they need. And I tried to blend a lot of different production techniques, mostly with animation. And I created a lot of different character sheets so they could have an idea, more of the backgrounds of these characters, where they came from, why they're doing these things. Yep. And we had a roadmap of the entire movie. Like there's actually 3 parts to this movie.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about the movie itself. Like, what's the plot? What can you tell me in terms of, I don't know, what can the audience expect? What kind of tone are you setting?
It's a true crime like drama that's about people just keep disappearing from this small town. Nobody knows who, what, when, or why. It's been going on for years. So there's a lot of mystery that comes about. And we follow this girl, Estella. She finds herself captive of these homicidal maniacs who have a delicious plan for her. But she escapes from them, and so the whole movie is kind of a cat and mouse game of like get her back before like they call the police. Yeah, it was just more of an exploration of these two characters because we have our other character played by Ben Knuckles, who plays alongside Katie Huck. They both feel like they're both victims or captives of this like group.
Oh, interesting.
Played by Lonnie Appleby and Joe Pafee. They they're just kind of like recluses that have this like sinister agenda.
Okay.
And they kind of like, as we follow this Jacob character, they kind of pressure like him into doing this thing because you gotta get the sense that Jacob is not like complete with himself. He feels like he's carrying a whole lot,
Right.
like burden or shame or guilt, and he's trying to figure out how to move forward. So he's looking for any kind of outlet with that. So I feel like he, in turn, meets the wrong kind of people that just send him on this journey of like, okay, well, I feel included, but what else now? You know, because I don't really feel like I have any more value.
Right. Interesting.
And then you get this character, Estelle, who is the person you expect in the story like this you want to follow more, and she becomes more of this catalyst that pushes him to find that light in all this darkness that he just feels like he's consumed in all the time. It's like, no, these are choices that you are making yourself, and you have the choice to just walk away. But it takes a lot of strength to even do that, especially like in the sense of this movie, you're around a bunch of crazy lunatics.
So we have a trailer
Yeah.
to show. You want to play the trailer, Michael?
Yeah, let's play this thing, man. Oh, is it working? Okay.
There's your boy Lonnie.
Those guys that you and Michael encountered the other day, they found their car. The news is getting pretty hectic. What if they find a trail that leads them back to us?
Well, there usually never is a trail to find.
This dude looks sinister.
Jacob! Michael!
Oh, Lonnie
How
does
would you
great.
two have let her get away? Get her! If she gets back to town, she'll tell people about us. And if she does that, I'll make sure they find your body first.
She got the jump on you, huh? I'm telling you, he's gonna turn on this first chance he gets.
I just want to go home.
Sooner or later, you're gonna have to get blood on your hands.
If this is how things are gonna be, I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Whether you like it or not, you're one of us. And you need to understand who you are. What is your name?
Stella.
Estella. That is a beautiful name.
May 2024.
Yeah, we didn't have to do it.
Hey, you didn't do May 2024?
Oh, we did June. We had a show after that.
Oh, okay, okay. Cool, man.
Wow.
Well, that looks fun.
That actually reminded me of something. From your last question, you were asking about feeling about Skeleton Crew. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Dolomite Is My Name about Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh, dude, it does sound familiar.
Sounds so familiar.
Eddie Murphy?
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. If you get a chance, watch it because it's very inspirational as a filmmaker. 'cause
Wasn't he nominated for an Oscar for that movie?
I feel like he was. I'm
Or
not sure.
the movie was? I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
It's a great movie, and it's about a guy who essentially had all these big ideas and all these big like things he wanted to do, but he had only the resources available to him. And there's a great scene in that movie where he's making this movie with just like his friends that he made throughout his like career, and they're the only people on set that are supporting him. And there's a scene in there where he's having a problem with the director they hired because he's a bigger guy, so he's been on a couple more projects, and he feels like, oh, this is a rundown, unprofessional production. And Rudy pulls him aside. He's like, hey man, look, I know you're Mr. Big Time, but the rest of us ain't never done no shit like this before, and I'm paying for this whole goddamn thing. I ain't got no fucking ego about it. If a box needs to get moved, I will move the box. And if people get hungry, I'll go down and start making sandwiches. Because we are here to work together to make a movie.
Yeah.
It was that scene that I was just like, see, that's what I feel like it's all about, and that's what I wanted to look forward to with this movie. I felt like if we just had the right people around who were seeing it and they were enjoying it, like when we had all the actors that came and read the script, like I wanted these 4 actors specifically to just get along. I wanted them to feel like this was their own little film family, even though things are probably going to go wrong, but they were our biggest cheerleaders at the end of the day. Like, take went wrong, they'd make a joke like, oh, we got to do it again just for safety. It's just, you wanted that kind of like fun.
Yeah.
That comes from, like we all really don't know what we're doing. We have a basic idea. We'll just hope it works out.
Your cast is having a good time. It's a good time for everybody.
It was a great time, and I'm glad that they all got along so well.
Well, yeah. So you finished the movie. You shoot your 27 days, and now you're editing it. I know that that took a little bit of reworking, right? Because something happened that made you have to completely do something that you weren't planning for, and you had to learn like a whole new sort of skill to complete the film. Talk about that a little bit.
So coming out of video production, like you find out what your weaknesses are and what things you're not really good at. Like I'm not really big on sound. So coming out of this, I was like, oh, it would be great if we could hire like someone to do sound, like, but I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm fearful of like how much money I'll be expected to pay, and I want to pay when I can. So it just more came about like, maybe I'll take this as an opportunity, because I went back to DMAC after that year to go relearn sound. There they had an extension of the program, so I felt like as I was doing that, because there was some moments in the sound came back. It was more about, it just didn't. It was like, I feel like there's more we could do here.
Yeah.
So it was.
Well, and sound is the most important part of a film.
That's what they always tell you.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to, I had this like feeling, I was like, I wanted to evoke the same emotion. I'm not getting it. You get this drive of like, okay, well, what am I missing? What do I need to go learn? So I went back to school and, started connecting again with more filmmakers, even after the pandemic, and had to do ADR for the whole film.
Oh, geez.
And the whole film had to be a new soundscape from the ground up. I felt like that was also a good opportunity, because like from animation, that's how I looked at it. It was like, that frame is just a canvas.
Yeah.
And everything you put on it is the other like bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. Well, dude, I can't even imagine your timeline, because I'm doing sound mixing right now for our project Yule Father, and it's just like I have like 25 audio layers of just so much Foley and everything, and I can't imagine what your timeline was like now, having a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Well, and also you edit it in Premiere, and this is just from a Premiere user. I found that I just edited my first feature. It is the worst once you get past a certain timeline. It just does not function.
Once you put on these 2 effects on one thing,
You're screwed.
Yeah.
You're screwed.
Any color? No.
Yeah,
No.
you can't, dude.
Wait
I've had
30
to
minutes
do
for one.
so many different reworks of like how to open up the fucking file.
How many crashes I had to be like,
Yeah.
the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's super frustrating. But
Yeah.
I'm sure that it was the right decision for you to make, because now you have sound that you can at least be happy with.
Yeah.
And what was the experience of the film is done? Now you premiered it at a theater, right?
Yeah, we premiered it at 3 theaters back in June. Just to also be like, the film is done. Come watch it. It was also kind of like just a test to kind of see like how people would react to it before we actually like drop it.
Yeah.
And we didn't expect the turnout to be as what it was either. Like we showed it in Newton, and then we had people lined up at the door. Like we only announced it on Facebook, and I knew a couple people on my Facebook. They said they weren't going to come in. It was more like word of mouth. Like we kept talking about this movie for years, saying it was going to come out, and then like when you get in editing, you realize how much actual work I want to put in this thing and how much work actually is needed to put into it. There was always this expectation I thought I was trying to fulfill.
Yeah.
Did you shoot it mostly in Newton?
Yeah, the whole film was shot actually in Jasper County, except for one scene we shot in Ankeny.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And yeah, that was. I feel like that just made it easier. Was just trying to it was more about. Well, if this is the biggest thing I'm going to do at this point in my life, I wanted to at least make a staple in it. I at least wanted to at least try and just see. I felt it was also a good way to also experience a lot of different branches to figure out, again, what am I good at, what am I not good at, and where do I need to grow a little. So.
Well, and I'm sure it was just an evolution of I'm sure you became a whole different person after those 2 years of editing. And I mean, your skills, it's invaluable. And you were able to probably take that into your next project that you'll end up doing,
Yeah, it was. That's why I'm also glad I had the experiences I did both in video and in animation because it opens up there's differences in what people expect cinematic storytelling to be and what can you do with all these other fun elements like sound and VFX and staging actors and different lighting techniques. And now having also met you guys, I have different ideas and different people who you can bring on to do all those different tasks. So you're not in editing.
Dude, now you got a crew, man. You got a crew to make your next project.
We'll
I mean, you can do it with just you and Wayne, but now you got a whole team.
Well, we have been saying for years we wanted to bring people on. So we feel much more comfortable reaching out to people and being like, well, we don't have a lot of money, but we have a good idea. We just want to bring in what we can. It's mostly just wanting to connect with more people,
That's the best.
Yeah, and it is the best, and that's why I come back here every day.
Yeah, just hanging, dude.
Yeah, just hanging. I'm like, what are you doing today? I just drove an hour. I just wanted a chocolate bar.
I just wanted to hang out with
Hang out with
I
your
wanted to
boys.
talk about a cigarette.
Well, Bauston, as we get close to wrapping up here, unless you have some final questions, Jake, go ahead.
What do you got?
Okay. What is happening now? You did your premieres. What's gonna go, or what's gonna happen with the film now that it's all sort of wrapped up here?
So currently, in the last couple months, I've been reaching out to people to try to figure out where we can stream it, so people can watch it both either on their phone, tablet, or online on their TVs. So that was just more things that come along. Where you're like, oh, I didn't really prepare for this because I've been so busy doing other things. So it just gets backtracked a bit. So yeah, once we release it, I'm just gonna let it live, and I've had my fun with it. But now it's just time to move on to other things, and I want to go back to doing animation again a lot more. I let that kind of sit a little bit more dormant in the last few years, and just trying to get back into my roots. And not only that, just like we talked about before, just trying to also work on myself and just trying to enjoy the journey.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, where can people find your stuff or the updates for this project?
They can look on our Instagram. We have the Beauty Via Media Instagram, which has all our updates on the film, which we'll have some announcements here soon about a couple of upcoming projects. We have a couple short films we want to either plan for this coming January or even next January, depending on the weather. Some different animations. I want to meet with more VFX and just people in that production area and just do what I did for the film for the last 3 years. I want to do that again with animation and just more creative people. I want to bring more projects and stories into Iowa.
Yeah.
That I feel like it's things that I want to see, and I feel like other people just want to see. They just don't It's why not? It's I got all this time in the world, and I ain't got nothing else to do that I enjoy. So
There you go, man.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
that's all it is.
That's a beautiful thing right there, buddy.
right,
Oh,
man.
it's the beautiful.
That's a big
That's
fish
what you
here.
just said right there, buddy. Oh my God, I'll tell you what.
Put that on me, black.
Hey, put that on me. I like it. All right, Jake, wrap it up.
Anyways, thank you so much, Bauston. It's
always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure meeting with you and working on all these projects with you. Seriously, and I can't wait to go see bits and pieces myself. But be sure to follow Beauty Via Media and find out when you can watch it for yourself. And until next time, just thanks for hanging out.
Until next time, I'm Michael. He's Jake, and that's
That's live.
yeah.
I don't know the rest of the song.
And goodbye.